You're listening to Jaime's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jaime Cerreta. I'm your host. And on this podcast, we celebrate everything local. I'm from Arizona, born and raised. I love Arizona. Some people move to Arizona and they really make it their hometowns. And that is the case with this next guest we are going to be talking to. She moved to Arizona. She built a business. With this business, she has grown it immensely in just 5 years, bringing up with her so many other business owners. She also made this business a center point of community, bringing with it faith and fellowship. May I introduce my guest today? We have Sophia Martinez of Screws and Sparkles in Buckeye.
Good
Hello,
morning,
Sophia.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
That was a great intro, actually. That made me feel
good.
good.
Oh, good. Well, it should, because we were discussing in the elevator up here. It was 5 years ago when we met.
Yeah.
And for my Local Love segment, someone had emailed me and said, I think you got to come out to Buckeye, Jaime, because there's this business and she's doing some special things. And I came and met you then.
Yeah.
Tell me about, well, let's start with where you were before, because you came from California to Buckeye.
Yeah, so
Why?
we moved from Northern California, the Bay Area, to Buckeye. And, we lived with my in-laws in the Bay Area. So a lot of families co-live. It's very expensive out there. And one day they said that they were retiring to Buckeye, Arizona. And they said, come with us. And my plan was to always move to Sacramento, where my family was. But after praying and talking to my husband, we decided to just, what are we going to lose if we just try something new?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did. So we loaded up my kids. We took 2 big old trucks to Buckeye, Arizona. And immediately when we touched down here, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I just felt it. I just felt such a peace, and I didn't know what was in store for my life. But I was just willing to say, yes, I'll try something new. And so much has happened since
So
then.
much has happened since then. So we met in your first storefront, and you had business in the past, helping mompreneurs.
Yeah.
So tell me about what you were doing before, and then how you opened that storefront.
So I grew up in church, always doing ministry and, just really bringing women and young girls together. So that's just in my nature. And so when I opened the store, my goal was to stay at home with my kids until they were all in school. Well, when we moved to Arizona, my youngest started school. So I'm like, oh, this is it. Let's hit the ground running. It's time to open Screws and Sparkles, the storefront. So Screws and Sparkles, the brand, is actually almost 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
And, I did my first market almost 10 years ago, and my kids were small. It was freezing. I had to load up a bunch of things. And this was before Instagram, where everything was very aesthetic and cute. No, it was very rough.
Yeah.
Okay, my husband's van was the backdrop. I didn't know what I was doing. It was windy. I had my kids, but I had a dream. And I just had a moment and an opportunity. And I said, I'm just going to see what happens. And while I was there at the market, I was looking around, and there were so many other moms like me. And there was this girl 2 booths down that she was selling handmade clothes. She had her baby in a little carrier. And I'm thinking, okay, there has to be a better way for moms to do what they want to do creatively and support their family. And that was the day that I said, I'm going to open another store. I'm going to open a store for moms like me. So that dream went on reserve for a while until we came to Arizona. And we started in 600 square feet. That's where you met me, smaller than this
Studio
room, probably.
It was not.
It was itty bitty.
Yeah.
But, if you have a big vision, it can't be contained.
Were you doing, were you rehabbing furniture? What was your?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what.
So Screws and Sparkles, the name is, my husband is the Screws and I'm the Sparkles.
Yes.
And it started out of a need. We didn't have a lot of money. I wanted to raise my kids, so I left my job. And so people would leave their furniture on the side of the road, and I'd be like, no, that's a dope table. I could paint it. So I would throw it on the stroller, and I would push it back home, and I would paint it, decorate my house with it. And eventually people started asking me, is that for sale, or can you do this for me? And so it was really interesting how my need turned into a business. And I was like, okay, I'll sell it.
Follow this.
And that's just what happened. And so I do paint furniture. I haven't painted furniture in a long time just because I'm so busy helping other people. But that's how it all started.
And we have to give a shout out to JR.
We do. My boo. Hey, boo.
The boo for the screws and the screws and sparkles. He does a lot of construction work. Yeah.
He brings it all together. And, without him, really, this wouldn't happen because of the support.
So Screws and Sparkles in Buckeye is in an old grocery store now. This was a grocery store that sat on Main Street, right?
Yeah, right on Main Street.
Main Street for 30 years, empty. When you moved in, you changed the texture of this town. You gave this community just kind of a holding space, a space where people can come together. If they're lonely, just browse and run into someone, pick up a coffee. You've done so much with this space in 1 year.
1 year. I'm tired, girl.
You make it look good. You make it look good. And I know that it gives you a lot of energy because you feel what you're doing is resonating with the community too. Yeah. So let's describe to people who have not been. I know we have some video for the folks who are watching the different kinds times that I've been to Screws and Sparkles, because I went to that first store, as you mentioned, and then I also went back to the big grocery store facility, which is huge. Yeah. So what kind of things do you sell?
So we are a retail storefront, but we are also a community gathering space. So the vision of Screws and Sparkles is to impact community within the capacity that we have. I believe that, even though we opened our store there's other people like me. There's big dreamers and innovators in every single city. And so what we do is we just create a safe place to help that flourish. So a lot of the women that we have in the store have never had a business before. They just have an idea.
And they have a talent
or a gift or a skill. And so a lot of my role is to mentor that and to water that seed so that they can grow and flourish. So we have about 60 different vendors right now. So when you walk in, you'll see different vendor spaces, from candles to clothing to pottery to embroidery, signs, all of that. But we also have tables and seating areas around the shop that people come and they have their homeschooling groups come in, or their Bible studies. We also have a coffee shop and a sweet shop. And we just opened a toy shop for the kids. Ooh. So, it's really just about what can you do with what you have. And I have this huge building, and we're doing a lot with it. And you're right, because when you're in where you know that you're supposed to be, it's a different kind of work. It's like soul work. It's not, I'm working towards a greater good. I'm working towards making an impact. I'm working because I love people. I love Screws and Sparkles, but I love people. And what I needed when I was getting furniture off the side of the road was just somebody to say, I can help you build a business. But I built something out of what I didn't have. And I'm like, I could help you. I can teach you social media. I could teach you how to brand yourself and to create the right prices where you feel like you're getting a good return for your work, and you can bring your kids here. You can support your family however you want. Whatever your dream is, you can do it, and I will help you do that. So that is what's happening inside those doors, and it's overwhelming when people, they visited the small store and then they come in and they're like, okay, they take a deep breath, like, what did you do?
It's so much fun. You walk in and it's creativity, it's color. You don't know where to look first because there are so many great things, from the vintage phone booth to great sweatshirts, great T-shirts, great keychains, great bath bombs, great freeze-dried candies. It's just so many different things that you set your eyes on. You're not quite sure where to go first. You want to, I have to cancel the rest of my day. So I have time to work through. And you said how many different vendors again?
We have about 60 currently, but they're always revolving. So we'll bring in some for this for holiday season.
Are they all local or handmade?
Most of them, yes. 90%.
Are local.
And we also do story time for the community. We do just workshops. Like, I've taught a couple different workshops at the shop. There's no limit to see me, girl. If I just have an idea, I just run with it.
You do. So you're the runner.
I'm just.
How does JR handle this?
He just knows what's up. He just is like. I was in a meeting, well, not a meeting, but so me and my brothers, I have two brothers that, live here in Buckeye now. we're all the same, which is really interesting. Like now that I'm a mom, I'm like, dang, my mom, who did she raise? She raised like these big thinkers and these hard workers, and we don't take no for an answer type of people. And because we have each other, that's why we're able to just keep on going. Well, it's funny because my brother was at my house and he opened his laptop and he started writing everything that I was saying, because I'm a visionary. I'm not into the details. I need somebody else to figure out the details and the order and how it's going to get done. I know where I'm going.
Right.
And so he erased everything off of it and he just put Sophia's brain. It was just all
Fair
over
enough.
the place. But, you know, I have such a great support from my brothers and from my husband. And my husband is the same way.
Really?
So it's very dangerous too.
Are you all entrepreneurs?
Yeah, we are. We're just big. I don't really know how to say it. We're like a dog on a bone, which I guess you have to be as an entrepreneur,
right.
because there's so many variables. It ebbs and it flows, and it's so hard to step out and put your vision out there for people to critique or to watch or all of these things. So yeah, we're just we know what we're created to do, and we have all these ideas and we have all these things in motion. And because my brothers are in hospitality and because I'm in customer service and because JR is in construction, it's like a really good recipe for success. And we build each other up. So if one person's low, the other person's like, hey, what's up? Let's keep going.
So family support.
Yeah, family. We hold it down.
You said you just know what you want to do. Yeah. How do you know what you want the store to look like, what you wanted to do, that you wanted to move out, take that move from a small space to a huge space? You didn't even go to a medium space. You took the whole enchilada. You just went straight for it.
Yeah. I think when you go home at night or when you're driving or just when you're by yourself, everybody has a dream. It could be a dream for your future family. It could be a dream, you know, for your business. It could be a dream for yourself. Like everybody has a dream. And my dream has always been to help other people. And you know what I'm saying? So whether I'm at church doing that, or whether I'm at home hosting a Bible study, whether I'm doing a podcast, whether I'm in my own building where I have the freedom to do so, that's what I'm going to do. Because I believe that people have dormant dreams and they just need somebody to say, hey, I know you got that inside of you. And you don't want to come talk to me. Everybody knows. If you talk to Sophia the next day,
it'll happen.
You're going to be emotion, because we keep you accountable and apply a little pressure that you can do things. Just like me and you were talking earlier, we're still learning because we're still growing, you know, and you have to get around people who can cultivate that seed, because I'm trying to be around people going up and making a difference. What are we going to do with our life here while we have it? You know, use it to help other people. That's the main thing.
Your family's obviously very important to you. The kids have grown up so much.
I know, taller than me now. Oh my goodness.
How old are they now?
17, 15, and 11.
Are they all working at the store? Not the 11-year-old?
No, the 11-year-old works.
Okay.
Yes, he's been working since he was about 5 or 6. And they know the inner workings of the store. Yeah. They know how we want it. They do inventory. My daughter is an excellent merchandiser, and she does a lot of our social media. She's 14. And I also don't believe that you should look down on children, because children, they have so much talent and gifts. And a lot of times adults are like, okay, wait till you're 18 or wait till you're 20. But that's not true. They have so much inside of them now. We need to give them space for those gifts to grow. And so we do things like, we had the cooking class for the kids, and we do story time, and we do different things for the kids. I opened the toy shop for the kids. I love kids. I do, because they just make everything fun. And that's what Buckeye needed too. You know, when I moved to Buckeye with my kids, there was nothing for kids to do. So that kind of fueled me on what I create, because I'm a mother first and then a business owner. And I want my kids to be proud of the town that they live in. I want my kids to say there's a fun toy store when our friends are in town, or a coffee shop, or all of these things. And so that's what's happening. And it's really fun when my daughter wants to meet at the shop with her friends, or my son's friends come and visit him while he's working in the toy store. And I'm blessed because we're making a difference.
Well, you're such a blessing to everyone in the community around you. I mean, whenever we chat and, I'm on deadline and we're doing live TV, but we always have these beautiful, deep conversations, and you always inspire me. And I can't imagine what you do for those vendors who are under your wing, under your tender care over there, and knowing that to create a business and then put your product in a store or shop. Yeah. A lot of times, you're replaceable. Right. But you're building these people. Yeah. And when you first moved to Buckeye, you weren't even sure you were going to put your business in Buckeye. How did that happen?
So we moved to Buckeye, and I started immediately when my son started school. I started calling around. I wanted to open my business, and I got insights from other people in the city. And they said, oh, you don't want to open a business here. Go to Goodyear. There's more people there. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what I'll do. And because I heard it over and over again that people said Goodyear is kind of where a lot's happening, just because I was new here, I was like, I'll do that. Yeah. And so one day I dropped off my kids at school, and I drove down MC 85, which is Buckeye's Main Street, and something literally happened. It literally happened on the inside of me, and I was driving to Goodyear, and I felt this almost like my heart was just like bursting with love. I don't know how to explain it, but that's the best way I can articulate that. Yeah. And it was like my eyes were opened, and the Lord had showed me something, and how much He loved this town. And I said, this is where I'm going to open my business. And I said it out loud, but I don't even remember really thinking that. I remember looking around like, oh my gosh, like I felt like this burden almost that I had to do something here. And that's what I did. And so when we opened our store, I knew that God was going to be with me because He directed me here. And I felt something that I had never felt before. I felt, I love my husband, I love my kids, but I felt in love with the city. And I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that you can, on a travel, in a travel version, like I love Paris because it's so beautiful. It wasn't like that. It was a connection. I love it, and I have to do something about it. And that has been everything to me, because when you love something, you don't give up on it. When you love something, you put in work, and you invest your time, your talent, your treasure. And when you love something, you tell people about it. And I'm always trying to tell people, like, come to downtown Buckeye. And we're getting there. People drive through. They drive to San Diego, and they drive to Phoenix. And we're like, hey, stop. Yeah. But when they do come into the store, when they do visit the other merchants in town, and when they meet the people behind the businesses, it's not just about Screws and Sparkles. I never want it to be about Screws and Sparkles, because what would that do for me, right? We're building a town and a community and empowering people and young people. There's high schools where we are. There's a food bank right where we are. The line is so long. And my mentality is not on my watch. So long as Sophia's here, we're going to do some good work. And I start with what I have, which is my store. And as the Lord keeps providing opportunities, I just say, I'm down. And I learn as I go. I'm learning so many new things too. And I love being with the people. I love when a woman comes in and she's like, hi, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And she always says, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
That's hard work.
But I sew.
That's hard work.
But I sew, and my husband lost his job. And I say, girl, do you want to work? Because I can help you. And they just look at me as like, maybe they'll make a few dollars. And then when they end up telling me they're paying their mortgage, and it's the platform that I have cultivated there, and it's so much work because it's people building, right? Yeah. And then they get their check and they can go home and be a blessing to their family and take their kids to ice cream. I remember when I sold a mirror one time. It was $50. And I took my kids to the movies because at that point, I didn't have enough money to even put gas in my car. We were on one income. And with the $50, I didn't buy anything for myself. I'm like, I'm going to take my kids to the movies. This is how moms think. And if we can just help the moms and empower them and empower the women, you change a whole community. And that's my dream. The dream is not the store. The dream is to help people in the community.
Well, you're doing it, girl.
Thanks.
You're doing it.
I'm trying.
It must feel so good. I want you to write me an itinerary for Buckeye.
Okay.
If I'm going into Buckeye, I'm going to spend a day there.
Okay.
How do I spend my day? Obviously, I think I need at least 2 hours in your store. At least.
Yes.
So
So if you look on our reviews, people say it's 45 minutes to an hour,
Okay.
although people spend much longer in there.
Yeah.
And if you're coming to Buckeye, the first thing you want to do is come to Screws and Sparkles.
I mean,
first
hello.
thing. And then you want to go to the DeGino Coffee Bar,
Uh-huh.
which is in our store. It's another family-owned business. And, look around the store, hang out, bring some friends, do some shopping, play some pinball. And there's lots of new restaurants opening up on Main Street. I am kind of like a little tour guide. Like,
Yes, I'm sure you
as
are.
we're getting more staff in the store, it's giving me the freedom to go out more. And so I always write, like, go to this cafe and go to this coffee shop and stop here and stop there. And, there's a lake here and there's all of these things happening. And people are like, I didn't even know all of this was happening in Buckeye.
So drop the names.
And
I
I'm
want to know
like,
the lake.
Girl,
Give me all of it.
Hidden Lake is just right behind Screws and Sparkles. There's cafes that I love. There's a creperie called Molina's Creperie that is just kind of close by the shop. And they do like a really good, you should go there.
I know. I'm making you plan my trip right now.
They do like savory crepes, and coffee and drinks. Sundance Park is just opening phase 2 where they're opening up a fishing pond. So that's in Buckeye. There's Verado, which has the Vic at the top of the mountain, or the Verado stairs if you like to work out. That's not me, but do you? And there are sit-down restaurants on Main Street, La Placita. There is tattoo shops. There's a restaurant right next door to ours called Rancheros where they do a really bomb fry bread, which I never had till I moved to Arizona. And there's going to be a new gelato cafe opening up.
I was just going to ask, what if I want a gelato? What's happening with gelato?
So 2 doors down from Screws and Sparkles, there's going to be a new gelato cafe. And
you know the owners?
I do.
Who are they?
My brother. My brother. And so, yeah, I guess when you say is entrepreneurship in us, I guess it is. But he has a fabulous vision for bringing this kind of like tropical Miami upscale vibe to downtown. It's so dope. And my husband is a contractor so we're all in the mix, you know.
Right, yeah.
Last night we were there late just eating cheese and crackers, that's how you got to eat
Enjoy,
sometimes.
yeah.
Just, but that'll be opening soon, and we're just so excited about what's to come. And my daughter will be baking. My daughter's an excellent baker and chef, actually.
Oh, wow.
And so she'll be baking some products for the shop. And so there is a lot to see. And downtown Buckeye actually has a master plan in the works right now. And we need people's, input. We need people's insight. We want the community to get involved. There's different things like, benches and trees, and how do you guys want the parking, and what do you guys want to see? And we really need more than just us as business owners.
Right.
We need the community and the kids to get involved and say, this is what we want. And we need the community to show up too, because we are in the middle of revitalization. This isn't, Scottsdale or Chandler. We're not there yet, but we're on our way.
But you're creating it.
Yeah, we're on
That's
our way.
what's so great, is you have that opportunity in the land to create what you want it to look like.
Yeah.
You're celebrating 5 years.
Yes.
What are you going to do to celebrate Screws and Sparkles?
I want
5
to have a
years.
big party.
Well, I think you should.
Yeah, I should.
When is this happening, and what is this party going to look like?
To be honest, I haven't finalized a lot of the details. I want to do something as a thank you to the community. 5 years is a long time. And it's interesting because sometimes it feels like that just flew by, but then other days I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been
through
doing
this. I've been through this.
But there's so much more to come for Screws and Sparkles,
There's a glimmer in your eye
just-
that excites
you
me
see
and
that
scares me. It's yes.
And, right now as we celebrate 5 years, for me, I want to sit in that and I want to rest in that.
Good.
I'm learning to
rest.
do those things.
Yes.
And I would encourage all business owners, if you've just opened a boutique or a restaurant, we're so in the sauce, right? Make a point to step back, to look at what you're doing and to rest in that, because it goes by so fast. And once you're open, you don't really get to rest. And there's so many things I'm like, I wish I would have enjoyed that. I wish I would have done this. So really sit, and with your dream. And when you have a dream and a vision and it's happening, it's crazy what happens to your brain. You're like, okay, this building was empty for 30 something years. And 2,000 people came to our grand opening weekend. 2,000
stood in line outside your building.
So my brain was trying to comprehend that. I wanted to work and I wanted to get in there, but I made a choice and I said, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to see what the Lord has done. Period.
And be in that joy.
Yeah.
It's so weird when those things you wish for become reality.
Yeah.
And then you're like, when's the other shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
There's like the fear that creeps in. And you're right. There's power in the rest and taking that yourself out of it and enjoying that moment.
Yeah. Even God, he created the heavens and the earth. And then on the seventh day, he's like, I'm resting. It's good.
So we should
That's
heed that advice.
I'm resting. It's good. If I want to be like him, I have to take time for rest. And I've learned so much. And with this 5-year celebration, I just really hope that people see how much love we've really my family has put here. And it does get me emotional because, like I said, I fell in love with the city. I did not know that was possible.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, there has to be other people like me.
Yeah.
There has to be other people that want to love on the city. How do we create space for them? How do we open doors? How do we get the kids in here to be creative? And like what can I do? I feel like the same burden that I felt 5 years ago, it's like 2.0. That's what's happening to me right now.
Next version.
I don't know what's
Maybe
happening.
it's a podcast.
I don't know.
I mean, every time you talk about your love of the city, I cry.
Yeah.
Because I get it. I love this city.
Yeah.
I wanted to be here so long. And being away hurt, and being here hurt when I wasn't where I wanted to be. And now it feels so good to just love on the city and have multiple ways to do so and help other people love this city.
I never thought about it like that because I've heard you say how much you love Phoenix.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing, girl. And to have the opportunity to have a platform to shine a light on people, that's what love is. It's before ourselves.
Yeah.
And relatable, girl. I relate to that a lot. And like I said, there's so much to do in Buckeye, and I just want to be, girl, I want to be in the mix. I want to be part of it. My kids want to get involved. And, I'm just so blessed to see what we have done with that space. And the tricky part is because my husband is in construction. I'm like, well, what are we doing next?
Yeah.
Because I have an idea and he'll just make it happen.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
It's just, I don't know why people want to marry for money. They need to marry a construction worker. Y'all trying to marry
a doer, someone who knows how to get things
somebody
done.
Who will build you what's
happening in Sophia's brain.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you already covered it, but I like to ask everyone about the jump. Okay. Making that jump into a full-time business. Yeah. What advice would you give someone and looking back at how you made that jump? What do you think now?
I think, well, if people are deciding on whether or not to take a jump, what I always tell them is, what would your 85-year-old self, what would you want your 85-year-old self to think of you? Do you want to sit at home at 85 and say, I wish I could have done that. I should have done that. Or do you want your 85-year-old self to be telling your grandkids and your kids, like, we started this business and it was crazy and I didn't know what I was doing and I learned along the way and I messed up 100 million times and I lost money, then I made money, then I lost it again and I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it.
And I followed my passion.
I just did it. Like, how much more interesting is life if you just go for it, because you're not going to know all the answers. And in entrepreneurship, there's so many variables.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know what I mean? So I would say a support. I have spousal support. Yeah. That he's like, what are we doing next?
Marry a contractor.
Period. And, I'm really big on finding your circle. Yeah. So you have to have that.
So do you ever have girlfriends? Do you ever have a night where you go and just have tapas and maybe a splash of wine?
I don't currently, but this is part of my new season of life
2.0.
where I need to
season of rest
take time for myself.
Yes.
Because we have some fabulous ladies working in the shop now, and they for me, it's how do you treat the customers?
Right.
And they treat them so well. So somebody else just asked me that too.
Really?
And I think that's something that I have to schedule. Okay. I do go out with my brothers and my husband on the weekends. We love to, try new places and all of that.
And you come here to Phoenix. Maybe I
yeah.
need to take my day trip to Buckeye, and then you need to come here to Phoenix, and I'll
Yeah.
show you around.
Exactly.
Some of my
I'll take a
favorite
break,
places.
girl. I'll take a break for you.
Good. Thank you. Real fast before we wrap up, I like to ask, what are you loving right now? Is there a place that you're loving? Is there something that you've been doing this summer that you're loving? Is there a book that you're reading? What are you loving right now?
What I'm really loving right now is I'm in this new space where I have found peace in leaving my store.
Yeah.
And that took 5 years.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm still, the girls will tell you, the girls are working today. I'm like, okay, and this, and they're like, bye.
Yeah, get
You
out
know?
of here. We got this.
I'm really loving this woman that I have become and recognizing that I am making changes. I'm making a positive impact. And I'm really loving being at almost ground zero again and saying, Lord, what are you doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was here before and you blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm here again. I don't know what to expect.
What's next?
And so one book that I really, really love is I believe it's one of the best books ever written. It's called Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud. And it has helped me so much with dealing with endings in life.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost a lot of relationships with this lifestyle. You don't really have time for people, and unless they get it, you can lose friendships or you lose relationships. And I've really dug in really deep on that book, Necessary Endings, the things that we have to leave behind, leaving good to go for great. And some of it is the way that we think. Some of it is people that we're in close proximity to that hold us back because they are small thinkers. And as much as I love you, I can't be around small thinkers. We need to be cultivating something. And closed doors. So many doors that have closed in my life that I'm like, why did that close? I really wanted that. But understanding there's something greater on the other side. And I'm really and maybe I'm getting older. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting more wiser and just.
Isn't it weird how that happens?
I feel just a little bit more at peace with myself.
Yeah.
I struggled a lot with mom guilt with what we've built. And when I look at my kids now, I'm like, my kids are so amazing. And I look at what my brother's doing. I look at what both of my brothers are doing and how, one is building a gelato business and one is doing preachings at my shop once a month and just sharing the word with whoever wants to come. We call it the unchurch because we're just like, there's no rules. There's no lights, camera, action. It's just our doors are open. Do you need prayer?
Yeah.
And he's 26 years old. He could be doing whatever.
Other things, yeah.
I'm really just loving watching the people around me step into their full capacity. And, I'm really just loving listening. This took me a long time to get here, but really just listening and saying, man, God, what do you have? Because the minute he says go, I'm going.
So enjoy your rest.
Yes, enjoying my rest.
Enjoy your rest. Happy 5-year anniversary. It's Screws and Sparkles in Buckeye. We can follow him all over social media. It is always a joy and an inspiration to see you, Sophia. Thanks for driving up to Phoenix.
Thanks, girl. Appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Jamie's Local Love, the podcast. I'm your host, Jaime Cerreta. Our technician is Tom Heidinger. Our editors are Lorraine Shearing and Gina Coy.
Jamie's Local Love, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.